Рад вас всех приветствовать.
I'm happy to greet you. Let us start our work.
Дорогие друзья, проведена
Dear friends,
работа
a
подготовительная.
great of work has been performed, the preparation for the launch of the space vehicle Soyuz TMA-12M.
Предстоит утвердить.
We have to confirm the composition of the crews
Что по
right
предварительной
now.
работе принято
And
решение проводить
the decision was made to do the launch on the 26th of March. So I'm asking Mr. Krikalev to report on the preparedness for the launch. Dear members of the State Commission, for the Expedition 3940, the crews and the following compositions were being prepared. The prime crew, Alexander Skvartsov, is the commander of Soyuz vehicle and flight engineer of the station. Oleg Artemyev is flight engineer of Soyuz vehicle and flight engineer of ISS. And Steven Swanson, flight engineer 2 of Soyuz and the flight engineer of Expedition 39 and commander of Expedition 40. The backup crew, Alexander Samokutyaev, Soyuz commander and flight engineer of the station, Yelena Serova, flight engineer of Soyuz and flight engineer of the station, and Barry Wilmer, flight engineer of Soyuz and of ISS. The program of the preparation has been performed in full. All the tests and exams have been successfully done and performed. The medical commission confirms that all the crew members are healthy and ready for the flight. So the State Commission in GCTC reviewed the results of the exams and the tests and now pronounces the crews, the prime crew and the backup crew ready for the launch of the Soyuz vehicle. So currently, the program for the preparation of the launch has been performed in full, and we confirm the prime crew of Soyuz vehicle. Commander is Alexander Skvartsov, flight engineer Oleg Artemyev, and flight engineer 2 of Soyuz vehicle is Steven Swanson. And backup crew, the commander of the vehicle is Alexander Samokutyaev, flight engineer of Soyuz vehicle Yelena Serova, and flight engineer 2 of the vehicle is Barry Wilmer. So that ends my report. Any questions? Thank you. So I'm asking the chief designer of Energia, Mr. Lapota, to report the degree of the preparedness of the launch vehicle and the rocket for the launch. So we have reviewed all the technical features of the rocket. The rocket has been delivered to the launch site, and all the necessary activities for its preparation have been performed. The testing, integrated testing, has been performed. There are no issues that might obstruct the launch of the vehicle currently. Okay, any questions? Thank you, Mr. Lapota. Now, dear colleagues, I am giving you the decision, the statement of the Chief Commission. We have reviewed the report and listened to the report of Mr. Krikalev, the Chief of the GCTC, on the preparedness of the prime and backup crew of Soyuz TMA-12M vehicle. And also we have listened and reviewed the report of Chief Designer Mr. Lapota. And based on the results of these reports, the State Commission is pronouncing that it confirms the prime crew and the backup crew. So the prime crew commander is Alexander Skvartsov, and the flight engineers Oleg Artemyev and Steven Swanson. And the backup crew is the commander Alexander Samokutyaev, flight engineer Serova Yelena, and flight engineer 2 Barry Wilmer. Also, the Commission considers that it is necessary to continue the preparation of the rocket and the Soyuz vehicle for the launch. So we confirm this statement of the State Commission. So Michael Safredini,
gentlemen, well, you've
please go ahead.
Between the three of you, got quite a bit of experience. And so now you're ready to embark on what I think is be another historic journey to ISS, if not very busy.
Господа, поздравляю вас, вы закончили подготовку. Если взять ваш опыт между тремя вами, опыта очень много, будет еще один исторический полет к Международной космической станции. Экспедиция будет очень напряженная.
You'll see almost every vehicle that we have in the fleet, including the ATV, which will be on its last mission to the International Space Station.
Вы будете работать практически со всеми кораблями, которые на данный момент прилетают к Международной космической станции, включая крайний корабль ATV, который будет выполнять свой последний полет.
You have today planned 3 U.S. EVAs and at least 1 Russian EVA.
На данный момент планируется 3 российских выхода в открытый космос, вернее, 3 американских выхода в открытый космос и 1 российский.
And included in all that, you have over 1,000 hours of research in front of you, including beginning the first rover research, which I think is the beginning of many campaigns that we'll do on board ISS.
Планируется провести, по крайней мере, 1000 часов участия международных в экспериментах, научных экспериментов, также включая эксперименты с грызунами, которые будут проводиться на орбите впервые.
So continuing our journey to do work on board to help all of us here on Earth, I wish you guys Godspeed.
Я знаю, что вы будете продолжать работу на борту для того, чтобы здесь люди на Земле пользовались результатами этой работы. Желаю вам всего самого наилучшего.
Хочу предоставить слово командиру.
I would like to give the word to the commander of the crew, Alexander Skvartsov.
Раз, меня хорошо слышно?
Do you read me good?
Огромное
Okay.
спасибо руководству Роскосмоса.
We are very grateful to the management of Roscosmos and to all the personnel that participated in the preparation of our flight.
Огромное спасибо.
And I would like to thank those people who also will prepare us for those 2 days before the launch.
Действительно большая работа.
We have a lot of work to do, a lot on our plate, and I think that we'll have a very good cooperation with all the organizations that will participate in the preparation of our flight. And I would like also to thank those people in advance who will also participate in the support of our flight. And so after the date of the launch and to the date of the landing, all these people who will work in this time frame, I would like to thank them, and I'm very grateful for their work. I give the word to the flight engineer, Oleg Artemyev. Dear Commission members, dear friends and colleagues, thank you for this chance that I've been given, and I'm happy to report that I'm ready for the flight. And I'm happy also to make this report, sitting here on this ground, on this land where I was born and I was raised, where all the people live who prepared me for the flight, and also the backup crew. It's just a wonderful crew. We are very lucky with the backup crew. And of course, I'm even more lucky with the commander that I have. Of course, it's a brain of our flight. I'm taking the brain of my flight into the flight, and also the American brain, Steve Swanson. So I think our flight will be just great. Thank you so much. So the microphone is given to Steve Swanson.
For your support, for your hard work, and for this great opportunity. Большое спасибо вам за вашу поддержку.
Thank you so much for your support, for your work,
Эту отличную возможность.
and for this opportunity, which is unique. Thank you so much. The microphone is given to the commander of the backup crew, Alexander Samokutyaev.
Уважаемый Олег Николаевич, уважаемый
Dear Oleg and dear Commission members and guests, thanks a lot from the backup crew for the choice that you have made. It was absolutely correct choice. So the next expedition to the station is ready. We will continue to be even more prepared than we are now, and we'll do our best. So the microphone is given to Elena Serova. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak today, and I would like to thank our prime crew and wish you good flight and soft landing. We will be expecting you on the ground. Now, Barry Wilmer. I would like to say thank you to all the specialists and personnel who were supporting us You will do our work better, and it will be better with time. Thank you, dear friends. As a conclusion, I congratulate you with the confirmation of the prime crew and the backup crew. The time that you will be flying to the station is unique. It's between the 9th of March and April the 12th. On the 9th of March, it was the 80 years since Gagarin was born. And you know, April the 12th is the Cosmonautics Day, International Day of Cosmonautics. So I wish you all the very best, and I wish you good luck. Thank you so much.
Александр,
Alexander, Oleg, and Steven,
я бы хотел бы вам пожелать
I would like to wish you
выполнения регламента.
to do everything on time and on schedule.
Уверены,
We are absolutely sure that you will be able to do it. You have all the necessary technical qualifications, and Alexander will control everything. So if you are supposed to eat this particular amount of foodstuffs, then you will have to do it, and please don't hide them anywhere. So Alexander will control everything and will be on top of things. And now, on the human side, so to say, on the human note, we will be waiting for your return. We are always nearby. We are always supporting you. We are always listening to what's happening on the station. So I wish you good luck. Thank you so much. All right, thank you. We'll continue our work. According to the program of the flights to ISS on the 26th of March, year 2014, on 3:16 local time, the launch of the Soyuz vehicle is scheduled. The crew that will be on board is the crew of the expedition 3940. Half an hour ago, the State Commission confirmed the composition of the prime and the backup crew. So I would like to introduce the prime crew. Skvartsov Alexander is commander of Soyuz vehicle, Roscosmos, Russia. Oleg Artemyev, flight engineer of Soyuz vehicle and flight engineer of ISS, Roscosmos, Russia. And Steven Swanson, flight engineer of Soyuz vehicle and flight engineer of Expedition 39 and commander of Expedition 40 from NASA, USA. Now, let me introduce the backup crew. Samokutyaev Alexander, commander of Soyuz vehicle and flight engineer of ISS, Roscosmos, Russia. Elena Serova, flight engineer of Soyuz vehicle and flight engineer of ISS, Roscosmos, Russia. Barry Wilmer, flight engineer 2 of Soyuz vehicle and flight engineer of ISS, NASA, USA. After this enthusiastic greetings, please, let's proceed to the questions. Go ahead with your questions. Interfax Information Agency, I would like to congratulate, first of all the cosmonauts with the assignment to the crew. I wish you good launch and good docking. And my first question is to Skvartsov Alexander. For all the crew members, it will be the very first of the vehicle with this 4-orbit docking profile. During the conference in Moscow, you said that everything should be to the schedule. So what we are expecting from this flight, from this profile? Thank you for the question. It's you started the very core of the issue. I think in this flight, actually, all three of us will have the very first experience when we'll have this expedited docking profile. And actually, it will be much more intense for us. And the MCC Moscow understands that, and we also understand it very fully. We have a very good cooperation with our support on the ground. We have discussed all the details, and we hope that luck also will be on our side. Alexander, there was a question connected to this Expedited Express 6-hour profile. So could you please remind us about the previous experience? about this turnover of time, so to say. Yeah, well, there were already flights on this profile, and the experience has been accumulated, and we made a decision that we won't do this time turnover. And I think it's the correct decision,
Мы были готовы к выполнению этого полета.
and we are ready for the flight, both physically and psychologically,
Все будет хорошо.
and I think everything will be fine.
Ну, это уже опыт. Мы не первые.
So we won't be the very first crew. The 3 crews before us did this for orbit
Maybe is from NASA.
rendezvous.
With a couple of questions for Steve Swanson. Steve, the space station's iServe camera, which is remote control for environmental studies and disaster analysis, was recently called on to try to assist in any way it could with the imagery of the search area for the Malaysian Airlines jet. Whether or not anything tangible comes of this exercise, how valuable is this as an example of the capabilities of the station as a global research platform and a laboratory?
I think this is a very good example of what the space station can do for the world here. We have many resources on board the space station, and this is just one example of that. And we can do all sorts of kinds of research and studies of the Earth, and hopefully they do find something from this.
And Steve, you and your crewmates are arriving at the station for one of the busiest 6-month periods in history, probably. Just a week from now, in fact, you'll be greeting the SpaceX Dragon cargo craft, and it goes on and on from there, hardly a week to spare. How complex will your half year on orbit be from a vehicle traffic standpoint and a time management standpoint?
Yes, we will have a lot of traffic on the cargo vehicles coming up. We will have 2 SpaceX Dragon vehicles. We'll have an orbital Cygnus vehicle, and we'll also have the ATV from the European Space Agency. And this will bring many different science experiments and cargo to the space station. It will keep us busy unloading, doing the science, and loading it back up. But we believe we are well prepared, and we won't be overtaxed. I think it's the ground has a very good plan for this, and we'll just execute their plan.
Thank you so much. Another question, please. ITARTAS agency, I would like to congratulate you once again with your forthcoming flight. You will see your dream come true. So you will have a lot of work, experiments and maintenance, but how are you going to spend your leisure on board the station? What ideas do you have? You will take pictures of the Earth, or you will, participate in broadcasting maybe some programs for the children on the ground. So what are you going to do? An interesting question. Thank you. I can talk a lot for a long time, but I think everyone will be able to say how he is going to spend his leisure time. I'm very grateful for the previous press conference in GCTC. I'm very thankful. Of course, we decided with Steve, of course, we will have joint dinners. He also will be a commander, Steve, and it's a very good opportunity to come together just as friends in the kitchen and discuss some very current, urgent issues and look into each other's eyes. Yeah, we have many of cameras. We will take lots of pictures, and I hope it will be very good memory for us in our later life. As for me, about my leisure time, I think actually I can speak for everyone here, even for the commander of the backup crew, Alexander. So when we're passing the window, we always look, down to the ground, and we'll grab a camera and we'll take pictures. You can look at our beautiful Earth for many hours. But of course, each of us has a hobby, and of course, we will do broadcasting Here I see the leader for Roscosmos is smiling. Absolutely, of course, we will do that. And each of us has a hobby.
Скажет и Стив,
Oleg and Steve will say for themselves. And as for me, I will also do something very interesting.
Spasiba.
Thank you.
For my free time, just like Sasha was saying, that the first thing is probably look out the window at our beautiful planet.
Ну, как Саша уже и сказал, я буду смотреть в иллюминатор и наблюдать за проплывающей мимо планетой.
And also then we do plan on doing a few other fun things on board. We're going to watch the World Cup.
Ну и, конечно, если мы что-то заметим интересное, то мы будем за этим наблюдать.
And it should be a good game. If you know that USA and Germany are in the same pool on the World Cup, and at that same time we will have a German astronaut on board, and we'll probably have a bet on who's going to clean the toilet next.
Ну и, конечно, у нас будут астронавты из США и Германии. Мы будем с ними решать, какие будут бытовые дела.
Besides that, though, I, like Sasha, I'm going to do a blog, and also be spending time talking to my family, writing them emails, and my friends too, and keeping in touch with home.
Ну и, конечно, да, как командир назначит ответственных за выполнение бытовых задач. Ну и, конечно, я буду связываться со своими родными, писать им электронные письма и вообще быть с ними в контакте.
On my part, I would like to say that if I get finally, eventually to the station, and if I have leisure at all on board the station, as long as I am there, I think it will be very expensive. I mean, my leisure time there for our state. So I will dedicate my leisure time to the very useful activities, mostly for the station, for the cosmonautics, and maybe just a tiny part of my leisure time I will spend to communicate with my relatives and my family. I will write letters, send them messages, and keep track of what I'm doing. And of course, absolutely, I will look down at our beautiful Earth. And I don't know what else.
Емельянов Николай.
Nikolai Yemelyanov,
Регион Тюмень, фестиваль «Птенец».
Vesti from Tyumen, and the festival which is called Little Birdie. I greet little birdies. Yes, thank you. So out of 3 cosmonauts, the 2 of them have bird last names, Skvartsov and Swanson. Swanson is the swan in Russian. So how 2 different birds will be able to survive together on board the station, and whether do you have any issues with that? So Skvorets is also a bird in Russian, and Skvartsov, the name is derived from the bird, so to say. Well, I understand that during the nature, these birds live together, very peacefully, so I don't think we will have any issues on board the station.
Тем более, что у нас мы члены одного экипажа.
We, the members of the same crew, we fly on the same vehicle, Soyuz, So I think we will be able to live very peacefully together. You've said everything. Yes, that's it. Alexander, how much time did it pass since
Знал, сколько нужно времени для того, чтобы адаптироваться в экипаже вместе. Вот.
since you've become training together? So the boy wants to know how long you need in order to become friends and become one team.
Сейчас, секунду.
Stand by one, please.
Маленькие технологические накладочки тут.
There is a small technical issue.
Ну, по большому счету, так, если...
Well, if we talk about the time
назначение в экипаж,
after the assignment to the mission or to the crew,
к этому столу, ну, так, в среднем 1,5 года.
about a year and a half. So
Полтора года.
maybe even more.
Это уже профессионалы, которые потом...
Of course, you see, we are professionals. The professionals usually are assigned, for the crew, and so they are prepared. Okay, Natalia Bursova, Roscosmos Studio. I, on my part, also congratulate you on the assignment and on the confirmation of, to be a prime crew. Could you please talk a little bit about experiments that you will perform on board the station? So what experiments you like more? I understand it will be biological experiments, medical experiments, and also the experiment with mice. So could you please dwell a little bit on that? And the second question is for NASA astronauts. So Barry and Stephen, you've been to space already, but it was a different program. So is there a difference between the preparation when you were flying from America, before to the station, and the preparation that you underwent in Russia and in general in order to fly to the station this time?
Начнем, наверное, с
Let's begin
вопроса. Наталья, вы всегда...
with the question that Natalia asked. I know you, Natalia. You ask very good questions as a rule. So it's a very easy answer, actually, to this question. I am happy that we have so many research experiments on the station, and the number of them grows every year. So currently there are 43 experiments. I am sure that there will be more, much more of the experiments in the future. But sometimes, sometimes the methodology arrives a little bit later, and I'm happy that there are so many experiments, and I hope that there will be more. Well, I don't think we have time to talk about all of them, but please trust me. All the experiments they're very diverse. Actually, all interests of humankind in space are represented in these experiments. It's from the body of the human organism in space and microgravity, and all the branches of science actually are represented. I think maybe we should make a list of all the research experiments, put it somewhere on the wall. Now about mice. Yes, about rodents. We've been instructed on how to work with rodents. I think American crew members know more about it, but on STS-131 and Shuttle 131, I actually saw how mice behave. So it's very interesting picture. But Steve will tell you about it in detail.
We do have many experience on board the space station, and they range from basic science to working on how the human body works, to working on how other creatures like the rodents adapt to space.
Да, у нас на МКС очень много различных экспериментов, начиная от базовых научных задач до экспериментов с телом и другими, человеческим телом и другими существами, такими как грызунами.
Also, they have experiments, of course, we work on ourselves. We measure many things about us, about our eyesight, about our body itself. And then the other comparison, of course, is the rodents. And the one thing I like the difference in there is that for the rodents, we have to dissect them, and for the humans, we don't.
И у нас много экспериментов с нами самими. Мы много измеряем различных параметров нашего тела, как наше тело ведет себя в невесомости. И то же самое мы очень много делаем различных действий с грызунами. Но в чем разница? В том, что грызунов надо очищать, дезинфицировать, а нас не нужно.
But that's just one of the many experiments we have on board. We have many great experiments. As for the difference in training between Russia and America, for me, it is a little different because I do not need all the skills that Sasha and Oleg have for maintaining the Russian segment. That's mostly their job. I'm just there to help them if they ever need it, and they just help me if I need to do something there. However, though, I am responsible for the U.S. segment, so I have a need for much more detailed knowledge on those systems. And I also work on more on the experiments on the American side, so I have to do a lot of training for those experiments, while I don't do the training on the Russian side for their experiments.
I wanted to add that we have a very similar preparation for the experiments on the Russian program, and we actually can help each other and change out each other, so to say. There are also multi-segment experiments on board the station now. For example, there are 2 experiments that are American experiments, but we will participate in them. And I would like to have more of experiments of this type on the station. Now, as to what experiments we like more, for me, all experiments are equally interesting. You know, I'm just eager to put my hands on them, to get to the station and start working. But the most interesting experiments, I think, are the experiments where you have to apply some efforts. Of course, there are some experiments that go on their own, you know, and are just controlled by us. But there are some experiments where you have to apply even physical force, for example, during the EVA, during spacewalks. So these experiments are more interesting for me, I think. And one of the experiments is called a TEST. And it is supervised by my supervisor in Energia and my research supervisor. And this experiment result, you know, will probably help us to understand how life actually forms and is dissipated in space. Anna Samoilenko, it's a lyrical question that is addressed to all crew members of the prime crew and the backup crew. In Russia, cosmonauts are being prepared for a long time, and on return, they receive the title Hero of Russia. So what actually was the motivation for you to choose this heroic profession of a cosmonaut? Thank you in advance.
Продолжение семейных традиций.
Well, it's family tradition for me, actually.
Очень приятно, когда отец гордится сыном.
When a father is proud of the son, it's very important, and it's very important for me.
Посвящен моим родителям.
My very first flight I dedicated to my parents, and my second flight probably will be for myself and for my family. Sasha, just a background. Your father,
Папа был в третьем наборе отряда космонавтов.
my father was in the Cosmonaut Corps. He was a member of the Cosmonaut Corps. It was the 3rd assignment, but he did not have a chance to fly. He was just a military pilot, but for some time he was in the Cosmonaut Corps. So I followed in his footsteps. I became the military pilot, but I even, you know, came further. I became a cosmonaut. It was his dream and my dream. It's a very interesting question. I am actually here by pure by chance, by accident. You know, probably I just didn't have any other option. I was looking for an interesting job, you know, and I wanted to see something that I haven't seen before. And eventually, I, you know, ended up in this chair today. As for the heroism, you know, when you are doing this, you don't think about it. Okay, so if I am giving this title, the Hero of Russia, it's fine. But you know, it was not the reason why I chose this profession. I don't think it's heroic. It's very, very interesting. Steven also wants to say something. Could you please pass the mic to him?
For me, it was a time in my life after I'd finished my master's degree when I was trying to figure out really what I wanted to do for a job.
Ну, для меня, после того, как я получил степень магистра, это продолжение моей работы, то, что я действительно хочу делать.
And I came across this idea of being an astronaut. I like the idea of a job that made you use your brain, had some physical activity in it, and had adventure.
Ну и, конечно, потом мне пришла идея стать не только сотрудником НАСА, но и астронавтом. И мне нравится работа с телом, когда работает мозг, когда ты применяешь какие-то физические усилия. И, конечно же, это некоторое приключение.
And after many years of trying, I got lucky and got selected, and here I am.
И после многих лет подготовки мне повезло, и вот я здесь.
Я немножко хотел поправить Олега.
I would like to correct Oleg a little bit, not even correct him, but you know, we're all professionals here, and there is a notion, a very old, good notion,
Полет как на
that
подвиг, ты к полету
if you want to, you know, make a flight a feat, some kind of outstanding
огромное спасибо.
event, actually you are not ready for the flight. So if you are professional, it's an ordinary job for you. So I would like again to thank all the people who prepared us for the flight. We are just the tip of the iceberg, the top of the pyramid. Trust me. So if we have something of nominal on board, of course, we will try to cope with it. But we have been prepared for it. And I prepared for 13 years for my first flight. Oleg, how long did it take you? A little bit less. Yes, but you know, the time that was spent on the preparation in order to sit in this chair, as he said, actually enormous. So professionally we are ready, and psychologically we are ready, and Baikonur launch site is a place for fine-tuning before our flight. Good afternoon. The Argumenты and Fakты newspaper. I congratulate you sincerely that you are to make this flight after this date, you know, the anniversary that we celebrated Gagarin's 80 years. And actually, I was very lucky to go to the village Glushino, where during the occupation of by the German army, you know, in the Second World War, his family lived for a year, and 20 years passed after that time, and our country that won the war, you know, and so there was a guy who was born in this village, and this little guy from this village became the first cosmonaut and flew to space for the first time. So the question is, what is the importance of Gagarin's inheritance? What it played in your destiny? Well, I've already told you about my parents. I was born in Zvyozny, and here my brother Yura is sitting among you. He was born on the 6th of April, 1968. And, you know, in 68, Gagarin died, crashed. It was a big tragedy. So we didn't even think what name we should give to our newborn brother. So he was named Yuri after Yuri Gagarin. So Yuri Gagarin will forever be for me the very first man who went to space. Maybe it is banal, but he was the first, the pioneer, the trailblazer for us. Gagarin is our pride, not only the pride of our country, but the pride of all our planet. He was the pioneer in space for the whole mankind. And, there, you know, he is unique. There is nobody else like him. And we are walking in his footsteps. And the first memorial, probably, that will be installed on other planets will be dedicated to him, I think.
I'd like to add what Oleg said, that Yuri is a symbol for the whole world. We even in the U.S. have a Yuri's Night Out to celebrate his first mission.
Ну, я хочу только добавить, что Юрий Гагарин — это символ для всего мира. И у нас в США мы тоже это отмечаем и празднуем первый полет.
And I'm proud just to be part of the history here.
И, конечно, я рад быть частью истории здесь.
Я еще хочу открыть маленький секрет.
I also want to tell you a secret.
Говорили это или нет, но
I don't know whether it was known or not, but in NASA, in the astronaut office, they have a bust of Gagarin. And actually, the 12th of April is the worldwide cosmonautics day. So not only we celebrate it in Russia, but in other countries as well, they celebrate this day.
I'm a foreign correspondent for Russia Today. My question is for Steve. I actually have two questions for you. What does it feel like when you're leaving Earth? What type of emotions do you experience? Do you feel any fear, or is it just exhilaration? That's my first question.
Yeah, so to me, it's kind of like when you go on a amusement park ride. It's just, it's very fun for me. I'm very happy, and I enjoy the whole thing.
My second question is, do you presently speak Russian, and are you planning on learning it in your spare time in space, if you don't already, to be able to speak with your fellow cosmonauts?
I don't speak Russian very well at all, and luckily they speak English, and so we get along quite well. We communicate fine, and probably we won't do too much learning the other languages in space. We'll be working more than that, but we will definitely spend a lot of time together. We will eat together, and we'll enjoy each other's company.
And my final question is for the only female on the panel, Yelena. Do you feel like a trailblazer, and how does it feel to be on this panel, the only female represented?
No, I don't feel a kind of separate entity from the crew, because the crew is one team, and it always has to be. It's one organism, one body, so to say. And if we feel separate, we won't be able to perform the tasks that we are supposed to do. And every one of us is ready to work together in a team, helping to each other. And that's how we're going to perform our main objective. I hope that my Russian will be sufficient. Okay. So your mission in general, so what kind of use will it bring to the mankind in general, your expedition and expeditions in general, and also what use it will bring to science? You know, we hear that one expedition, another expedition flies to the ISS, but how important it is for the science and for the humankind? Thank you.
Это огромное желание человека что-то сделать.
Actually, you know, people are sometimes very hasty to see the result, an immediate result. But there are fundamental sciences, and in order to get some results in these sciences, you need some time. You know, sometimes I ask this question to myself, you know, how important it is, because sometimes you continue the experiments that other people started. You know, once I saw a movie that probably will answer your question. It summarizes the results. So the first, you know, that was shown is this film, a bag, a Velcro, you know, that was invented in space, and then now it is so commonly used on the ground. So there, you know, there are things that we use in our daily life, and sometimes we don't even realize where these daily things come from. And they first actually were used on board this station. So the science that works for space actually is very useful. But you know, everything is so fast in our daily life, and we get used to the results, to some very useful things, and we just don't understand and realize, you know, that it all came from space. I think maybe we should make another film, and that will show how our experience of these annual flights, experiments on the station, how these results are used on the ground later. Of course, it's interesting for us to see the fish, the school of fish, and to tell, you know, to the sailors in the sea on the ground where this school of fish is, and they will immediately catch this. This is an immediate result, but you see, some results are not immediate. So, you know, let's probably wait and see what other results there will be from the station. But of course, there are very tangible results, believe me. Thank you so much. And there is a children's question here. The girl from Tyumen. So in your backup crew, you have a lady, Elena Serova. Maybe as gentlemen, you should give her the right to fly first, not in the backup crew. Elena, will you have another chance to fly?
Во-первых, я так поняла, это вопрос...
First of all, I think it's the question to the crew commander, maybe Oleg Artemyev, as a gentleman. Maybe he should, you know, well, I think I will give our men, I won't give our men a chance to speak. You know, they don't have to behave as gentlemen here. Of course, you know, there is a schedule that we need to stick to. There is a certain order, and actually, you know, we don't separate into men and women, males and females. We all are crew members. We all are specialists. Now, regarding the second part of your question, yes, I am going to fly. My flight is scheduled for September, and I hope very much to be able to make this flight. Thank you for the question. We hope that on the 11th of September we'll land. And when we have the final breakfast in GCTC, we will come there, even though we won't be, you know, adapted for the gravity fully, but we will come to this breakfast, and we will say farewell to Lena and Sasha. You know, so the backup crew also will become a primary crew, and the backup crew that is backup crew now will have their own backup crew later. So this is a sequence, a succession. That's how it should be, and that you know, all crew members go through that. So everything should be nominally, and one by one, the crews should go to space, as they should. Yes, that's correct.
Бурные аплодисменты с благодарностью за то, что
Ребята,